Hello everyone, I welcome you all to today's topic decodified session. Today we are going to talk about the Chinese expansion tricks, which we all are very well aware about. It keeps on making in news for several actions from the Chinese end time to time. So we shall be discussing about this particular topic in the following sequence. Why it is in news. Then we shall be covering about China's cartographic aggression, other kinds of assertiveness that China happens to do, China's five finger policy, salami slicing policy, dead trap policy, and so on, followed by the mains and prelims based practice questions for you guys. But before that, I want you all to be informed about the Mains 8 2022 program by Analyst IAS, wherein you can get help for polity, essay, public administration, and ethics. Do check out the details given over here and apply soon to improve your scores in the upcoming mains examination and also to avail the early bird discount. Getting back to the topic, why it is in news? Why are we discussing it right now? So recently, the news is coming in from Nepal that a delegation of Rashtriya Ekta Abhiyan has submitted memorandum to claim China encroached land back. In Nepal, a delegation of Rashtriya Ekta Abhiyan led by the President Binay Yadav has submitted a memorandum to the Minister of Land Management, Cooperatives and Poverty Alleviation, Shashi Shresht, demanding to claim the country's territory occupied by China. The civic body also drew ministers' attention to the latest incursion of China, whereby the Beijing side has erected a fence at the Ruila border of Shumanabri Rural Municipality 1 in Gorkha without coordinating with the opposite side. President Yadav said that the encroachment in various areas of the Nepal-China border, including Ruila, in violation of international law and values, is not only an insult to the friendship between the two countries but also a direct challenge to the sovereignty of Nepal itself. So why China has been doing such things? Basically, Xi Jinping of China, the current president of China, has taken over the task of Mao for China's expansion. Xi has also ensured the support of his population by projecting them the goal of Chinese dream that envisages incorporation of areas in its periphery which had been lost to the forces of imperialism and colonialism. Simultaneously, he launched a high voltage cartographic aggression. These included areas along the Indo-Tibetan border and South China Sea. Since he assumed power, China is aggressively pursuing its objective of expansion along with aggressive militarism and has become a standing menace to its neighbors. So it's been doing it to Nepal, to India, to Bhutan, and so on. So what exactly is cartographic aggression? Cartographic aggression translates to the intended use of cartography for the exerting territorial claims, influencing the audience in the disputed area and gaining public support for territorial expansion. The strategic use of cartography can be understood as a part of psychological warfare operationalized during peacetime. Through visual messages such as maps, cartoons, posters, and postcards, countries define their view of sovereignty and claim over national and international territories. Cartographic aggression is based on manipulating visuals to prepare the domestic and international audience to perceive the administrator's claim of a specific territory. This further blurs the line of difference between the legal and future claim of territory by aggrieved state, giving the aggressor an edge in the territorial dispute. Basically, they'll repeat these things so many times so as to turn falsehood into facts. Because a lie repeated 100 or 1,000 times may start seeming like truth over a period of time. So that's what China does. This is the belief that Chinese policies work upon. What's mine is mine. What's yours is negotiable. That is Chinese assertiveness. So what else does China do apart from cartographic aggression to pursue this intent? Let me take you through certain actions of China in the upcoming slides. First of all, I shall be discussing with you the debt trap policy. There are two ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by the sword, you fight an upfront battle. The other is debt. And China is choosing the second path and has embraced colonial era practices and rapidly emerged as the world's biggest official creditor. The debt trap policy is a theory that describes a powerful lending country or institution seeking to saddle a borrowing nation with enormous debt so as to increase its leverage over it. We know that China gives debt to small countries on malicious terms, making it absolutely impossible for those countries to pay China back. And thereafter, it eventually captures the territory of that country. That's one of the forms in which China is pursuing its expansionist policies. So, how does China's debt trap diplomacy work? To gain rapid political and economic ascendancy across the globe, China is dispensing billions of dollars in the form of concessional loans to developing countries. Concessional, this word is just a word over here. There really is no truth about it. Anyways, mostly for their large-scale infrastructure projects. These developing nations, which are primarily low or middle income countries, are unable to keep up with the repayments, and Beijing then gets a chance to demand concessions or advantages in exchange for the debt relief. So this is what happened between China and Myanmar. China and Myanmar had a long history of cross-border trade due to the geographical boundary and cultural affiliations. From 1988, when the State Law and Order Restoration Council SLORC took over the reins of government, Myanmar was the first country to deliberately swing towards Beijing. World sanctions followed, but Beijing reassured the generals of its continued backing and in 1989 signed a trade and cooperation contract that made China the illegitimate military government's sole supporter. Military government of where? Of Myanmar. Following the imposition of harsh Western sanctions in 2007, China became the country's sole trading partner. The regime's survival depended on the relationship with China, although it accomplished a little to boost economic growth. Myanmar's wood exports to China account for almost 70% of country's total exports. China is clearly deforesting Myanmar's centuries-old teak forest. This is what China is doing in Myanmar. And then similar things are happening to Pakistan. Pakistan joined the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC as it is abbreviated, in 2012. New Delhi and Washington were mistaken in believing that CPEC will lead to a massive People's Liberation Army, Navy, that is, plan expansion into the Indian Ocean via Gwadar, which is still mostly underutilized. According to realistic IMF projection, Islamabad's immediate financial needs for 2022 are $51 billion now due to weak economic management and reckless borrowing from China. In the name of CPEC, China has been dumping money into Pakistan, absolutely destroying its economy, and now Pakistan owes a lot to China and even to international financial institutions. The Gwadar Port and the Lahore Metro, for example, are unviable projects that have sparked widespread public outrage. The CPEC was turned off and on again and again. The IMF cautioned Islamabad that repaying CPEC will increase Pakistan's current account deficit, requiring the country to decrease Chinese interest payments for 10 years. For China, the CPEC has been a humiliating experience, and for Pakistan, it has been an economic disaster. So through CPEC, the economy of Pakistan has been systematically destroyed by China. Implications for Sri Lanka under the debt trap policy. The Hambantota port was built against all economic evaluations and advice. It failed, and Sri Lanka transferred the land to China as equity for 99 years. Now, Hambantota port of Sri Lanka is with China for a 99-year lease. So from 2012 to 2016, China accounted for 30% of the total foreign direct investment into Sri Lanka, making it the country's most important foreign investor. Again, dumping enough money. China is now investing $1 billion in 50 projects in Sri Lanka, including the Colombo port and the Lakvijaya thermal plant. The Sri Lankan economy is currently in shambles, with China owning the majority of the country's debt. Private banks are unable to finance imports due to lack of funds. Tourism and remittances, the country's primary source of revenue, have dried up and the government is in financial trouble. And we know what havoc is going on in Sri Lanka. Anyways, more details on it maybe in another video. Let's get going with this one. Continuing our discussion with China's string of pearls. Look at this picture very carefully. Pakistan's Gwadar, Sri Lanka's Hambantota, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Chittagong, and then China's own Hainan Islands. Isn't this somehow looking like a garland across the maritime boundary of India? And right above India in the north lies China itself anyway, isn't it? So the string of pearls, China refers to the intention of China to build a network in the Indian Ocean region (IOR) surrounding India. Literally, it refers to the network of Chinese military and commercial establishments developed by China in countries falling on the Indian Ocean amidst Chinese mainland and Port Sudan. Each pearl of the string indicates a form of permanent Chinese military establishment in a series of locations along the string. The development of ports around India in Gwadar, Hambantota and Sitwe on the coast of Bay of Bengal in Myanmar is viewed as a part of string of pearls. Despite these being commercial ports now, the fear is that these may be readily transformed to naval facilities in case of clash with India. The string of pearls concept has been studied and discussed for a long time, and India's Look East policy was continually viewed as a response to this particular doctrine of string of pearls itself. But initially, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, that is CPEC, and presently its macro form of One Belt, One Road Initiative (OBOR), under which China will build several land and maritime trade routes, are also viewed as part of China's bigger military ambition, even greater than the string of pearls itself. So that's how China is preparing itself for any possible aggression against India. Now let's talk about Chinese Trojan horse. I hope all of you must have heard the Trojan horse story. A very interesting Greek mythological story it is. So the Trojan horse was a huge hollow wooden horse which was constructed by Greeks during the Battle of Troy to gain the entrance into Troy during the Trojan War or War of Troy. The horse was built and a number of soldiers actually hid in that hollow horse, and it was left on the entrance of the palace of Troy. At night, people found that horse in front of the entrance and they got fascinated by it. They looked around and found nothing, so they pulled it in and then slept peacefully. At night, thereafter, after everyone was fast asleep, soldiers came out of the Trojan horse and killed everyone. That's how Greeks won the Battle of Troy. Right? So such Trojan horse tricks China has also been doing in the world. The coronavirus pandemic itself is assumed to be a Trojan horse, which originated from the Wuhan city of China last year and has affected and disturbed the world greatly. Many theories came up as to the cause of coronavirus: a spurt from Wuhan wet market to an accident in a biowarfare laboratory to Chinese conspiracy to disrupt the world order. Whatever the theories, one undeniable fact is that the virus originated from Wuhan, and China deliberately suppressed the information at the cost of global pandemic. For such a long time, WHO was manipulated by China into not declaring the Wuhan virus, or so to say coronavirus, as a pandemic. And each and every virus or epidemic that has spread so far in the world was named after the place it originated from. For example, the Spanish flu, right? But we don't call it Wuhan virus or Chinese virus. We call it coronavirus, right? Clearly, China has been very assertive. In fact, I would say has been successfully asserting its dominance throughout the world. Chinese apps are another form of Trojan horse itself, and that's why the Ministry of Home Affairs recently recommended a ban on 54 Chinese mobile applications, including popular games, citing privacy and national security concerns. TikTok and other popular short video applications from China were also banned by the government in 2020. The decision to ban such apps in India is not only a geopolitical move but also a strategic trade maneuver with a significant economic impact. Data privacy issue not limited to Chinese app. Sumiti banned apps on reports of stealing and transmitting user data in an unauthorized manner to servers which have locations outside India. However, the data privacy and data security concerns are not limited to only Chinese apps, but maximum number of these Chinese apps do such things, and that has been found. That's why specifically Chinese apps have been identified and banned in India categorically. Damage done already. The apps that were banned were very popular in India, and the move to block them comes after these apps had already amassed hundreds of millions of users in India and then a ton of data. India remains reliant on Chinese products even now. There is a lot of economic dependencies we have on China. So the Chinese mobile app banning is a soft target for us. From semiconductors to active pharmaceutical ingredients to telecom sector, Chinese vendors are involved not only in India's 4G network but in ongoing 5G trials as well. Also, Chinese finance is presently essential to sustaining India's startup economy, as many Indian unicorns such as Paytm, Zomato, Byju's are having Chinese shareholding. So why China is doing all of this? The answer lies in the Mao's philosophy of expansion. So let's understand about it. So Mao gave this five-finger theory, doctrine or policy for China. The five-finger of Tibet policy is largely attributed to Mao Zedong's speech on 15 November 1939. As per the construct, Xinjiang, that is Tibet, is the right palm of China, and Ladakh, Nepal, Sikkim, Bhutan and northeast frontiers of Arunachal Pradesh. Mind you, Ladakh, Nepal, Sikkim, Bhutan, northeastern frontiers of Arunachal Pradesh are the five fingers of this palm. China thus took upon itself the responsibility to liberate these regions to realize the dream of Mao. So it can be said that the origin of China's five-finger policy can be traced back to Mao's speech, although it was never officially brought up in Chinese public statements. So the government does not formally use this particular five-finger policy in its diplomacy or any other statements, but this is what is considered as an inspiration for the current Chinese regime to pursue such expansionist policies. Let's see how implementation of five-finger policy of China has been executed in the years so far. So of course, Tibet was captured by China in 1959. I want you to look at this image. I hope it's somewhat visible to you. You can make an idea out of it. This is Tibet. This is the palm. Here's Ladakh. Here lies Nepal. So this is the thumb. These are the four fingers wherein there's Nepal, there's Sikkim, there's Bhutan and there is Arunachal Pradesh. So China captured Tibet in 1959. Nepal has become a puppet of China. Sikkim has been facing a major buildup across the border. Even Arunachal Pradesh has had a lot of encroachment during the Indo-China War in 1962. A very big area of Arunachal Pradesh territory has been under Chinese occupation since then. In Bhutan, there has been Doklam standoff. At multiple instances, aggression has been shown by Chinese end since 2017. And in Ladakh, China has already occupied Aksai Chin and aggression has been going on, we know very well, in Galwan Valley. Another tactic that China uses is salami slicing tactic. So the salami slicing is described as a strategy that involves the divide and conquer process of threats and alliances to overcome opposition and acquire new territories. China is the only country that has been expanding its territorial jurisdiction post World War II at the expense of its neighbors. This expansion has taken place in both territorial and maritime regions. For instance, the acquisition of Tibet and the capture of Aksai Chin and annexation of Paracel Islands. So bit by bit, China tries to encroach into the territories which it wants to have under its control. So these were few tactics, tricks China uses for pursuing its expansionist goals. We have also understood the reasons behind the same and what it's been doing currently, what has it done in the past. A lot of information has been provided to you today at one place in this particular video. I have kept the focus of this video broad rather than deep. All of these particular techniques, tricks that China uses can be a topic of discussion individually in themselves, which we shall be trying to take up in the future. For now, I would like you to look at this prelims practice question. Which one of the following statements best reflects the issue which Senkaku Islands sometimes mentioned in news? Your options are A. It is generally believed that they are artificial islands made by a country around South China Sea. B. China and Japan engage in maritime disputes over these islands in the East China Sea. C. A permanent American military base has been set up there to help Taiwan to increase its defense capabilities. D. Through international courts of justice, declared them as no man's island, some Southeast Asian countries claim them. You have to pick the correct option with regards to the Senkaku Islands and put your answers in the comment box below. Now let's look at the mains practice question. How is China's aggressive expansionist policy being viewed by countries worldwide? Discuss. You need to answer this particular question in 250 words. This is it for today. I shall see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care and stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining in.